So with these change of plans, right? I made the agreement with myself yesterday that I am going to put in the effort to do everything that I can to reinvest all of the money, okay? That is the big idea going forward. I don't want to be in a situation, I've always said that, I at least have to try, okay? I at least have to try, sitting here and going, oh my God, this is so, there's a lot of money and I'm gonna just have to start pulling money out of the business. That's not good, okay? I at least have to try to reinvest all of the money, okay? I do. That's the agreement that I made with myself. And so I'm taking a look at everything that I got going on. And what I did was I created the 3 pools of money for what my balance sheet will look like in 2 months. Or what it will look like, because right now is the end of September, just about the end of September. And this is what I believe my balance sheet will look like by about the middle of December. So here in about 2 or 3 months, I'm taking a look at what do I have going on. The whole idea right now is that, I'll go through everything right now, okay? So here's pool number 1, okay? This pool number 1. Pool number 1 is just to keep track of what's going on in the entirety of the situation. So you can see in pool number 1, I have 2 quarters, a nickel, a dime, and 2 pennies face up, okay? And I have a quarter, a nickel, and 4 pennies face down, okay? This is going to become important a little bit later on. And that is just what's going on with pool number 2 and pool number 3 combined, okay? So I got face down nickel, face down nickel, face down nickel, right? Face up, the face up is my money. Face up means my money, and face down means it's a loan, okay? And so I got everything organized like that. And so I can figure out how many animals do I have and how many animals did I take a loan for, okay? That's very important to keep track of. The whole idea is that I'm looking to keep my balance sheet at an 80% leverage, okay? I am looking to keep my balance sheet at an 80% leverage. I'm not concerned about it. I don't lose sleep over it. It doesn't, I didn't sell my soul to the devil for money. I've taken a look at it, and this is how I've decided to run my business. And the whole thing about it is, if I have whatever, right? If I have $150,000 worth of cattle and I go to the bank and I take a loan for $120,000 worth of cattle, I now have $270,000 worth of cattle, right? And if the bank calls me tomorrow and they say, hey, you need to pay your loans back, we need that $120,000 back, I can always sell the cattle that the bank lent me money for, and I can just pay the bank back their money, right? I'm not going to be taking the bank's money and going on a mystical, magical journey, right? I'm not going to go and buy myself 5 Lamborghinis. My whole thing about it is when it comes to money, there is 0 reason for me to even spend time thinking about spending money, okay? If I feel like buying it, I'm just going to buy it, okay? That's how it pans out. I'm not concerned about it. My business, I would rather think about growing my business. I would rather think about growing my business, okay? I'm not concerned about, oh my God, can I afford this thing? If I legitimately even wanted to buy like a Lamborghini, I could buy 5 Lamborghinis and it wouldn't matter, okay? In all honesty, right now, you're going to see what I mean. Like, even if I put like $3-4 million in a hole and lit that money on fire, it wouldn't even do anything, okay? It's a waste of time. And it's actually kind of like it's a waste of time, and it's not going to get anything done for me to sit around and think about spending money, okay? If I legitimately want to spend money, I will just buy it. I don't have to think about it, okay? I got a couple of big announcements too. I'm taking a look at it, and this is gonna get interesting real fast. And so I got everything situated like that, okay? Pool number 1 is over there, pool number 2 is over here, and pool number 3 is up there. And this is the 200-pound cattle, 300-pound cattle, 400-pound cattle, 500, 600, 700, and 800-pound cattle, okay? And so I was taking a look at it, and effectively, what I'm going to have to do, so this would be by December, right? If I sell 5 and buy 15, the amount of leverage that I have on my balance sheet would still go downwards, okay? In this situation that I'm in right now, I still need to leverage for more animals. I actually need to leverage for about another quarter, right? So I would have to put a quarter worth of debt over here and invest this quarter somewhere in here somewhere, okay? I mean, it may be a nickel over here, you know, it may be a couple of nickel, you know, maybe who knows, right? But it has to be about 25 cattle worth of money. I need to find somewhere to put about 25 cattle more worth of money somewhere in here, right in the front end of the herd. You know, and this is also, you know, this is something that I realized while I was doing this. So this quarter right now, if you take a look at the face-up coins and you count all of this out, the face-up coins are over there. And then if you count all this out, the face-down coins are over here, okay? And so just to get a close-up look at everything, in case you're having a hard time seeing it. Right, I got a face down, nickels, face down, 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 right? And then face up, face up, face up, right? Face down, face up, face up. All of the money on this side is always face up, okay? All of this money over here is the unrealized gain. Same over there, all right? And that money, I always consider that money to be all my money. I don't worry about that money because it's the tip of the iceberg. This is the check in my hand, right? I'm not, you know, maybe this right here is maybe about, you know, $14,000. I'm not worried about that. That I consider it all to be my money. I can even pull that out and put it in pool number 4 if I have to, and then just invest with straight debt. But I made the agreement with myself that I am going to at least attempt to invest all the money. And if I invest that money, I consider that all to be my money. Granted that, you know, my the amount of leverage that I have on my balance sheet is not out of whack. All right, you know, like even right now with everything just the way it is, I still need to add about 25 cattle worth of debt to my balance sheet to get myself to an 80% leverage, okay? I actually do still need to add about a quarter. Somewhere around here, I need to add a quarter, okay? Somewhere at some point, I need to add a quarter. Maybe I add a, you know, but if I add a dime over here, and I add a dime over here, and this is 2 months on the line, this would have also produced me another 4 pennies. And so, you know, I would realistically, you know, it's the compounding effect, right? I would need to probably put another dime in over here too. So I may need to, you know, leverage for 30 more animals. You know, realistically, because this would be and I don't really like leveraging for animals. I don't like leveraging I don't like leveraging against assets until they've gotten to this point. But in all honesty, even if they're here, if I take a good hard look at them, you know, because the amount of leverage that I have on my balance sheet is just going to be so low. You know, it's going to be, it is going to turn into a doozy, okay? It is going to turn into a problem. One of my biggest problems right now is that, you know, if I am legitimately looking to invest all of the money that I make, including leveraging against pool number 2. You know, this is the big idea. Leveraging against pool number 2 is turning into you know, it's going to turn this thing into a major project, okay? But I made the agreement with myself that I am looking to, you know, at least try. And I'm not going to say at least try. I'm going to do it or I'll die in the process. All right. You know, I'm not going to say I'm going to try. I am looking to accomplish this. And so I'm looking for a reasonable way to do it. Okay. And so, you know, I realistically need to put probably about 30 more cents when you think about the money making me a return. But, you know, just to simplify it, you know, I'll just put a quarter. I need to find somewhere to put this quarter, okay? I need to find somewhere to put that 25 animals worth of money. And that would keep me at an 80% leverage. But if I put in 10 over here and 10 over here, then realistically, by the time that I have to invest money over here, and then that's also the thing is that if I, you know, well, I mean, if I did that, then I would have to, you know, I would have like another 5 or 6 animals. You know, I would have to put in another dime over here. So I would no longer be investing a quarter. I'd be investing another dime. Or, you know, I'd be investing 30 cents instead of 25. And so, but I told myself, this is what I'm going to do. And so this is, you know, unless something you know, this is what I'm looking to accomplish, okay? Even I am looking to accomplish this. All right, this is what I am looking to accomplish. And but this is also what I mean. So this quarter, I need to find somewhere to put it, okay? And realistically, I need to find somewhere to put this quarter because that's what my balance sheet looks like right now. 3 months down the line, if I sell 5 and I buy 15, right? That's why I got a dime and a nickel, dime and a nickel, dime and a nickel, and then nickel, 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 right? 200 pounders, 300 pounders, 400 pounders, 500 pounders, 600 pounders, 700 pounders, and 800 pounders, okay? And so when I put it all together, you know, and when I, you know, take a look at, you know, balancing or leveraging against the pool number 2, I realistically still need to, you know, even if I add all this leverage, I still need to find a place to put about 30 more cents, okay? I still need to find a place to put about 30 more cattle, and this is just over the next 3 months. And this is also why I was like, well, maybe I'd pull the money out of the business, and that would, if I pulled the money out of the business for the next 3 months, that would, you know, effectively get rid of this quarter, right? And I could, you know, I could just invest with debt, and not think about investing with the equity, and not investing with my money, and then just investing with straight debt and pulling the money out of the business. And you know, but you know, I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna fiddle forward around with that. I am just going to look to do the. I'm just going to look to invest everything. Okay, I am just gonna look to invest everything. You know. I have to at least go for it, okay? I'm not going to sit here and not even attempt to do it, okay? And so, you know, maybe I need to put in another dime over here, a dime over here, and a dime over here. And that would increase the amount of unrealized gains that I have as well. And so, but granted that all of this effectively goes okay. Things don't have to go extraordinarily well. Things don't, you know, things don't whatever completely fall apart, and things just go okay. And here's the thing: I'm not concerned about it. Okay. The big thing is that when it comes down to it, okay, when it comes down to it, if I legitimately just felt like this was too much, if I legitimately got to a point where I said, this is just. It's just, I guess it's too much for me or whatever, right? I said that this is just not, you know, whatever. I can always just come back and make my $50,000 a month, okay? I can always just come back and make my $40,000 a month. I don't have to worry about pushing my business to the, and this is actually the big announcement. You know, I'm actually going to push up my, my earnings for next year to, from 2 million to 2.5 million. I do believe that I will exceed the 2 million mark next year. You know, especially if I start reinvesting all of my money. You know, if I start reinvesting all of my money and I have to leverage against it, and I leverage against it at 80%, I would actually push up the earnings for my business, the estimate of earnings for my business from 2 million to 2.5 million. If I can go and run myself about 400 cattle at a time, I will end up making well, if I can run realistically, if I can run 250 cattle at a time, and I go from 250 and then I run another you know, whatever, 350 cattle, and then I can go from 350 to you know, 350 to maybe about 600, 350, maybe 650, 700 by the end of the year. That'll end up making me about $2.5 million, okay? And I will be looking to utilize my my cash flow. The pool number 3, you know, when this money, the thing about, you know, the whole thing about real estate, I can actually use that money to buy me real estate, and I wouldn't be concerned about it. Because if it comes down to it, that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? If I legitimately need more money, then I can just liquidate like these animals or whatever else it may be. And the whole thing about real estate is if I take this money and I put it into pool number 5, which would be me buying real estate, if I felt like I needed that money, right? I felt like I needed that money. And here's also the thing, here's also, you know, I got a few major big announcements. The first one is that I will be looking to push my business to 2.5 million next year. I do believe that I will go over 2 million. I am just gonna go for it, okay? I am just gonna go for it. I'm not just gonna go for it, but I am going for it, okay? You have my word, okay? I give you my word. I am, something very severe would have to happen. Like if I died along the way, knock on wood, okay? If something major happened, like I got hit by a tornado or something, but I am going for it, okay? I am going for it. And one of the most important things that will need to happen is that I will need to buy myself a piece of land to precondition, to put more animals in the front end of the cattle herd. I will need to buy a piece of land so that I can precondition more animals. I can put more animals in the front end of the cattle herd, and that will. And I'm already looking at a piece of property to do so. And I am pushing up my net earning estimate for next year from 2 million to 2.5 million. Okay, that's the big announcement. That's one of the big announcements. And when I go to the bank, another big announcement is that when I go to the bank to redo my loans, when I do my loans for my cattle, I am going to look into, that's when I will also look into a loan for a piece of land, okay? I am looking to do all that at the same time. And so I am going to open, and the whole thing about real estate and the big thing about owning real estate, and it's the banks love real estate, is they love lending against it, okay? They love lending against it. If you have some real estate on your portfolio, the banks absolutely love real estate, okay? They love it. They will leverage against it. They will give you money against it, okay? And so, I'm just going to open up, I'm going to take everything that I have. I'm going to show the bank everything, okay? I'm going to just tell them to give me the biggest loan that they will give me. And I will open up the biggest credit line that I can get myself. I will use my cash flow for my business. I will use the equity of my property. I will use everything. If they will hold my cattle for collateral, I will even do that, okay? I will use everything that I have, and I will open up the biggest line of credit that I can get myself. And I don't have to use everything, right? I don't have to use everything. When it boils down to it, I don't have to use everything. But I just want to make sure that the money is ready to go. And if I ever, run into a situation or whatever that I feel like I need more money, then I can go back to the bank. And this is what's going to happen over the next 2 months, okay? Over the next 3 months, this is what will happen. I will be, selling 5 and buying 15, okay? So that's why there's 15, 15, 15, and then the rest of the animals, 5, 5, 5, 5, okay? And when I do this, right, these animals are going to produce a return, right? 3 pennies a month, right? So, I've effectively tripled my output triple my output on those animals, by tripling the number of animals that I am appreciating at the same time. And so when I take a look at the overall balance sheet, I don't really like leveraging against this. But, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to it, I will, I'm actually, the more that I look into it, I'm actually okay with leveraging against this as well. After 1 month, I'm okay with leveraging against this as well. And the thing about this is that there is no unrealized gain, right? I'm getting better at preconditioning the animals, and I'm just getting better at what I do. I'm getting better with the medications and just with overall taking care of the animals and everything else. And I'm actually okay now with leveraging against these animals as well. After 30 days, I would be willing to leverage against the animals, okay? They would probably have their first round of vaccinations and they'd be on feed and everything. I really just don't want to leverage against these animals, but these animals, they've already been leveraged against because I sold 5 and I bought 15, right? And so, and so there's nothing to leverage against here. And I'm willing to leverage against these, okay? And so when you take a look at all of it, this is effectively what it would take. Actually, this is what it would take for me to leverage against everything 80%, okay? I would have to, and realistically, it'd be this, okay? Because I may have to add another dime over here, and another dime over here. So we're effectively talking about me selling 5 and buying 25. All right, if I sold 5 and bought 25 for the next 3 months straight, then I would be at 80% leverage. All right. And this is also what I mean by right now, like if I continue just forward the way that I am going right now, the amount of leverage that I have on my balance sheet will already fall below 80%. It will all, it'll all, in the next 3 months, the amount of leverage that I have on my balance sheet, if you include the lever, the unrealized gains on the investment, I mean, we're realistically talking about my investment will go below my investment portfolio will go under 50% leverage. And so this is also why I'm having to jam 30 more animals into the front end of the herd. And so that would actually be a good idea. Sell 5 and buy 25, but I would have to redo my loans to do that. If I'm going to sell 5 and that's also one thing that I've been considering, is that maybe I don't sell 5 animals a month for the next 3 months, but maybe I sell 0 animals next month. I sell 15 animals the next month, and then I sell 0 animals the next month. And then I take that lump sum of capital and I just pay down my debt, and I immediately ask the bank to re-leverage me. And when I leverage myself, I will leverage myself for everything that I can get. And I will also be looking to buy myself a new piece of land. Or another thing that I can do is I can just continue just sell 5 and buy 15 for the next 3 months, and then and this is also, it's also okay, and then sell 5 and buy 15 for the next 3 months. That'll create a larger equity base for me. That will actually put me in a situation where I don't have to. Well, that will put me in a situation where my leverage is effectively 30%. Okay. And then at the beginning of next year, or in a new tax year, I could then pay my debt down very, very, very quickly, and then re-leverage myself for everything. And that's actually probably a better idea, because then it doesn't put me in a giant time crunch to invest a large sum of money. All right, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm, looking to buy myself a $2 million piece of land, a $1 million piece of land, and 70 cattle within 2 weeks, right? Because I don't want to put myself in that situation, right? I mean, think about it. If I had, this done by the middle of December, that would give me 2 weeks for the rest of the tax year, right? And then I would have to buy 30 cattle, and I would have to buy myself a, realistically, I mean, it doesn't really matter what it is. Any land that I can make money on, I can just buy it, okay? Because the money that goes into the land, I can always pull that money back out with a line of credit, okay? The land, as long as I purchase it at a reasonable, equitable evaluation, at a reasonable appraisal value, and the principal that I put into the money, into the land, I can always pull that money back out, okay? And so, with a line of credit, I can always pull that money back out, and then I can reinvest that money or do whatever I would like to do with that money, But that's the thing about having real estate, is that banks love lending against it. And so if I have some real estate on my portfolio, the banks will probably give me more money. All right, the banks will probably give me more money if I have some land on my portfolio, and I am going to leverage against this property that I am on as well. I'm just going to leverage against everything. I'm just going to say, here is everything that I have. I have this business. This business makes me this much money. I have this many cattle. I have this equipment, and I have this land. Leverage me for everything. Just give me the biggest loan that you will give me at the longest time period. Interest only would be fantastic. And, give me a good interest rate, and then, just take the biggest loan that I can, and I don't have to use the loan if I don't want to, right? I can use the loan as I see necessary. And the more that I look at this, the more that I go through this is actually the most simple way for me to keep track of everything that is going on. This is actually the most reasonable way for me to keep track of everything that I've got going on from what I have seen. And I would really like to set up a table or something where I can just leave this out and not worry about it getting messed up, so that I can just take a look at it and figure out exactly what's going on, move some coins around. I went and bought some cattle today, so I moved that over here and whatever, push it all out, a forward one. I would really like to get myself a table or something that I can just leave this on, and I can just see what's going on. I could just take a look at it, move everything around, and just call it a day. And it just takes me maybe 2 minutes. This is actually the most realistic, most simple way, most reasonable way for me to keep track of everything. It doesn't take a lot of time. It makes a lot of sense to me, and it's very easy to do. All right, it's very simple, and it's very accurate. And it doesn't take a lot of time. And so that's a couple of big things, all right? I did make the agreement with myself to reinvest everything, okay? I will look to reinvest everything. That does mean realistically I will need to put in about 30 more cattle here in the front end somewhere. I have a couple of realistic ideas for how I will do that. Actually, I will probably just create a larger equity base for myself over the next 3 months. I will just increase my equity position, equity proportion on my balance sheet. I will increase the equity proportion on my balance sheet, and then I will. But the big problem, because the big problem then becomes, I wouldn't be investing just the 30, right? I would have to invest like I'd have to put in maybe a 50, right, over here, because I would still have to buy the animals that I'm looking to buy for the month, right? And so it wouldn't be 30, it'd be 50. So I'd be looking to buy 50, but at the beginning of next year, I can look into getting myself or I can look into just building myself getting myself a better preconditioning facility, or looking into buying myself a new piece of land. But that's what I got going on, okay? And when I look at all this and I got everything going on the way that it is, I would realistically anticipate that my earnings for next year would go from about 2 million to about I would raise my estimates to about 2.5 million. And another last big announcement is that I've been saying that I'm looking to get myself to the 10 million mark within 3 years. But I reasonably, $10 million a year, I reasonably believe that I can actually do it in 2. I actually believe that I could do it in 2, okay? I will be looking into buying up a lot of real estate. And I will buy up real estate. I will buy up land with the earnings. And I can use the earnings to pay off the debt. And the principal that I have in the land, I can always just leverage against it. And yep, I think I can actually, but but I guess it's already technically been like, I don't even know, has it already been a year? I don't think it's been a year, right? So I mean, I guess it's technically going to take me 3 years. I don't know, has it been a year? It may already have been a year. It may have been 6 months, something like that. But I reasonably believe that I can get to 10 million a year within 2 years. I believe that I can get to 10 million within 2 years. And the whole thing about this is that I'm going for it, okay? And this is how I've reasoned it with myself. I'm not going to be scared, okay? I am going to keep track of what I'm doing. I'm not going to be scared. All right, the whole thing about the cattle business is I do very well for myself. And I actually believe that I have a moral obligation to keep working, okay? I actually have a moral obligation to do my best. I don't believe that I could have made it anywhere without God, okay? I sincerely believe that I could not have made it anywhere without God. And in all honesty, if I could save people, if money would save people, I would give away every dollar that I ever made. Me not running cattle, the whole thing about me being in the cattle business is that I make money feeding people, okay? And if I don't, if we don't have farmers, then we don't have food, okay? Where do you think your beef comes from? All right, your beef doesn't just magically appear in a grocery store, okay? I got paid because I fed people. I don't do some, this work is not some, this work is not exactly, but the Korean people, Asian people, particularly Oriental people, call this line of work dirty work. A lot of people don't want to be a farmer. A lot of people would not touch the cattle business with a 50-foot pole, okay? And I just managed to do very well for myself. And it's a very important business. I mean, people may not want to do it, but somebody's got to do it. All right, the cattle business, if we don't have cattlemen, how are we gonna get the beef to the table? There is going to be no beef. All right, there is going to be no food if we don't have cattlemen, okay? And so my whole thing is I'm going to go for it. And if it ever turns into a situation where I believe that it's just too much or whatever, I feel myself just like I don't feel like I can do it, then I can always come back and just run my, I can always just, I can stop pushing for the 10 million. I can stop pushing for the 1,000 cattle a year. I can stop pushing for the 4,000, 5,000 cattle a year, whatever it may be. And I can always come back and just run my 500 cattle a year, okay? I can always come back and just run my 250 cattle a year. And I can just make a comfortable living doing that. I can always come back. All right, I'm not concerned about it. I am going for it, and that's how I reasoned it with myself. There's, if I did not try, I don't know if I could live with myself. All right, I don't know if I sincerely dislike, the people who don't try, or the people who legitimately just make me absolutely just want to, I don't, start kicking people into holes, okay? Legitimately, the people who don't try, they are, to me, one of the worst. And I'm not going to become one of those people. I'm going to try. I'm going to go for it, okay? And I've told myself, even if this turns out to be too much, if next year I can't run my 1,000 cattle, if I can't run 1,000 cattle next year, and, I ran about 150, 200 cattle. I'll probably end up running about 150, 200 cattle this year. And I legitimately had zero issues. I legitimately had zero issues doing this, okay? I don't think I'll have any concerns. I don't think I'll have any difficulties going to 1,000. And I'm, even after that, the next year, maybe I go to, 3,000 or 4,000, right? Maybe I'll go to 3,000 or 4,000. And I didn't have any problems going to a 200 at all. Zero, no problems, all right? I have to, and the people, and I've always, the people who don't try disgust me. All right. Like, if you're not even going to try, and, you better not be complaining as well. All right. If you're complaining and you're not trying, legitimately makes me want to kick you into a hole. Okay. You have, and so I'm not going to be a part of that. I will try. And I've told myself, even if whatever, if it all just whatever, I can always just, but I had zero issues. I had zero problems running 150, 200 cattle a year. I had zero problems, okay? There's no reason for me to just sit here and do this for the rest of my life. The money, I understand that the money's whatever, but, I have a moral obligation to do this, okay? That's what I believe. I believe that, I would not be able to live with myself if I did not go for it. All right, I believe that I have a moral obligation to do this. I feel like if I don't, I would be turning away from God. I would be turning away from God if I didn't go for it. Okay. So that's how I've, logically deduced it. I'm not having any issues. I'm already running 150, 200 cattle a year. I'm not having any problems. I'm doing very well for myself. I have a lot of money. Coming in, and I'm not gonna scrape money off the business or anything. I am going to look into reinvesting everything. I will look into reinvesting everything. Okay. And I would reasonably believe that my earnings go from I will probably be able to exceed about $2.5 million next year. All right, I'm gonna push up the estimates from 2 million net to 2.5 million net, and I'm going for it, okay? And I'm not gonna be scared about it. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. I'm not worried about it or anything, okay? If I legitimately felt like it was too much for me, I can always come back and just run my 250 cattle a year. I can always come back and run my 350 cattle a year if 1,000 is too much, or if 4,000 is too much. I can always come back. All right. That's how I'm going for it.